Hello, welcome to Math with Dobrescu, to the rescue. Our lesson will focus on telling whether the order pair, this order pair, is a solution to this equation. Okay, so number one and number two, we are going to look at this order pair, 10, -1, and -3 and 3. If these order pairs are the solutions of these equations. You may encounter these type of problems on a test, especially at the end of the year, and now you'll know how to solve it. First of all, we are going to label the x and the y in the order pair. So 10 is x and -1 is y. The same with the second order pair, this order pair here. -3 is x and 3 is y. Now let's go back to number one. After you label the x and the y, we are going to substitute the 10 and the -1 into the equation, and then we are going to solve it, and we are looking to see if we get a true statement, if we get a true balance. If we get a balance, then the answer is yes, 10 and -1 is the solution of this equation. On the other hand, if we do not get a balance, if we get two different numbers, one number on the left side of the equation and another number, a different number on the right side of the equation, then the answer is no, not a solution. Let's see what we get. So let's circle the 10, and we are going to put 10 into this x, and let's circle the -1, and we are going to put -1 for y, and then solve this equation and see what we get. So instead of x, we are going to put 10. So we have 10 plus 8 times. Instead of y, we are going to put -1. So let's put -1 in a parenthesis. Everything should equal 2. Now let's solve the left side of the equation and see if we can get 2. So we have here 10. And be very careful here now. We have +8 times -1. Remember Dr. Triangle, positive times a negative equals a negative. So it's going to be -8. And then 10 minus 8 is 2. And 2 equals 2. This is true. We get a balance. We have a true statement. True. And because we got a true statement, the answer is yes. 10 and -1 is the solution. So both of these numbers are the solution. Solution of this equation. Let's take a look at number 2 now. The same thing. We are going to substitute x with -3. Be very careful here because we have two negatives. And then we are going to substitute 3 for y. And let's see what we get. So instead of y, we are going to put 3. 3 equals 6 minus, and don't forget to open a little parenthesis and put -3 in the other parenthesis because we have another negative here, right? -3. And now let's solve. Now be very, very careful because negative times a negative becomes a positive. Be very careful. It's not 6 minus 3. Now it becomes 6 plus 3. So because of that reason, here we get 6 plus 3, 9, and 3 equals 9. We don't get the balance, right? So the answer, so here is a false statement. We get a false statement, right? So the answer is no. Not a solution. Not a solution. So -3 and 3 is not the solution of this equation. Be very careful when we get these type of problems. You'll get these type of problems probably at the end of the year or on a test or on a quiz. Now you know what to do. You substitute x with 10, y -1, plug it in, and again we are looking for a true statement. Okay, let's take a look at part 2. Now in part 2, we are going to continue with some more graphing. Take a look at this table here. We have the equation y equals -4x plus 8. This is our function. Of course, we have again y by itself in this case, and then we have negative 4x plus 8. And now, in this problem, we have a very neat organized table. Okay, take a look at this table. Sometimes, some of these problems are coming very, very organized on a table, and you just have to fill in the table and then graph the order pairs. Okay, so let's take a look here what we get. I want you also to put y equals here. To make it really organized, let's put the y equals negative 4x plus 8. The entire function, we are going to write the entire function in the second box right here. Because now it will be easier for us when we plug in the first number for x and then solve for y. Because we are going to see the y right there. So we have y equals negative 4. Instead of x, we are going to put 4 times 4 plus 8. Again, negative 4 times 4, negative 4 times 4, again, negative times a positive becomes negative. So here we get negative 16. Negative 16 plus 8 becomes negative 8. Be very, very careful here, right? Negative 16 plus 8 becomes negative 8. So the order pair is 4, comma, negative 8. Okay, let's continue now with the second one. We are going to plug in 2. We are going to substitute x with 2 now. So we have y equals negative 4 times 2 plus 8. And again, negative 4 times 2 becomes negative 8, and negative 8 plus 8 becomes 0. So this order pair is 2, comma 0, 2, 0. Now let's continue with the last number. We are going to substitute 1 for x. So we have y equals negative 4 times 1 plus 8. And again, negative 4 times 1 becomes negative 4, and negative 4 plus 8 becomes positive 4. So here we have 1, comma 4. You see in this table, we have the order pairs now in the same table, really neat and organized. And now we just have to plot those order pairs into the graph and get the answer, get the line. Okay, let's graph the first one. When x is 4, y is negative 8. When x is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, y is negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right here. Okay, somewhere right there. This is our first order pair. When x is 4, positive 4, y is negative 8. Right there. Now let's grab the second one. When x is 2, y is 0. When x is 2, y is 0. So this is our second point. And finally, when x is 1, y is 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay, when x is 1, y is 4. And now we are going to connect those lines. Okay, we are going to connect the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's going to go through here. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to go through right through there. Because this is going to tell us, and I'm going to explain to you why this positive 8 is the y-intercept. Okay, so let's connect the dots. Oops. Let's connect the dots. So again, we start from here. Something like that. Oh, let me do another line here. Hopefully I can do a better job. Oh, for some reason, I cannot. Something like that. Okay? The line goes to the left. The slope is negative. The line goes to the left. So, since this line crosses the y-axis at positive 8, if we look back at the equation, anytime you have the equation into this form, y equals a number times x plus a constant plus another number, the last number at the end is actually the y-intercept. So this positive 8 represents the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, right here. See that? This line crosses the y-axis at positive 8. Okay? This is the y-intercept. In a future lessons, we are going to graph equations without creating a table of values. We are just going to graph looking at the slope and at the y-intercept. And please remember, if we get the equation into this form, y equals mx plus b, this is the y-intercept form, okay? We have to get the y by itself, like in this equation, y is already by itself. And then the number in front of x is actually our slope. So in this case, -4 or -4 over 1 represents our slope. So our slope is -4 over 1. Again, the number in front of x, this is our slope. And the b is the y-intercept, the last number at the end. This is the y-intercept, is the b. So the y-intercept is positive 8. And if you look at this problem, since the slope is -4 over 1, so the rise, -4 over 1, -4 over 1, and so forth, -4 over 1, and so forth. -4 over 1, -4 over 1, -4 over 1. Okay? The rise is, we are going down now. -4 over 1, -4, and so forth. This is our slope, -4 over 1. And this is our line. Line goes to the left, and our slope is negative. So negative slope. Okay? I hope you are very clear on how to look at the y-intercept right there in the equation. Positive 8 is the y-intercept, and -4 over 1 is our slope. Okay, let's take a look at another problem here. Part 3. In this problem here, in this part 3, we have to write the equation in a function form. We have to solve for y. This equation, 3x minus 6y equals 0, we don't have the y by itself. You see, y is not by itself yet, so we have to do that. We have to solve for y first, and then we are going to replace this with y equals a number equation, something times x and plus the y-intercept. Okay? So first of all, in this case, we have to solve for y. We have to get the y by itself to one side of the equation and get the y by itself. So to get the y by itself here, we have to first subtract 3x on both sides. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. Okay? We are getting the y by itself. Remember, we need to get the equation into this form. Y equals mx plus b. Y has to be by itself. So if we subtract 3x on both sides, this will cancel. So we have -6y equals -3x. And plus 0. But 0 doesn't really count because it's just a 0. And finally, we have to divide both sides by -6 in order for us to get the y by itself, right? So let's divide both sides by -6. -6, -6. Negative divided by negative become positive y. Now y is by itself equals negative divided by negative become positive 3 over 6 x, and then 0 divided by a number is 0. Okay? But now we are going to simplify 3 over 6. We can divide top and bottom by 3. So let's divide top and bottom by 3. And now we can get y equals 3 divided by 3 is 1 over 6 divided by 3 is 2 x and plus 0. Okay, 0 doesn't even count. Okay, so let's replace this equation, negative 3x minus 6y. Actually, it's supposed to be negative 3x minus 6y. It's positive actually. Positive. 3x minus 6y equals 0, but we are going to replace this equation with y equals 1 over 2x plus 0. Okay, so let me erase that. Let me erase this equation and put the form we just solved. We got the y by itself, so y equals 1 over 2x. And we don't even have to put the 0. This is the y-intercept, the last number at the end, remember? We know for sure that this line is going through the origin because the y-intercept is 0. The same thing now, we are going to give some values for x and then so for y. Now be very, very careful here because we have a fraction here and on the bottom we have 2. Because we have 2, remember, we have to choose very carefully. 2 would work because 2 divided by 2 simplifies out, right? 0 would work because 0 divided by 2 is still 0. And we can put negative 2. Negative 2 will also work. Be very careful here. When we have a fraction, we want to cancel that number on the bottom. And we have to choose very carefully those values for x in order for us to cancel that 2 on the bottom. Now let's plug it in. So let's plug these 2 for x. And we have here y equals this x 1 over 2 times 2. And remember, 2 and 2 cancels out, and that becomes a 1. Y equals 1, and the order pair is 2, 1. Okay, everything here becomes a 1. No more fraction and no decimals. Okay, that's why we chose that 2 over there. Now let's plug in the 0. We plug 0 for x, and we have y equals 1 over 2 times 0. Anything times 0 is 0, of course. So this is 0. And again, like I told you, this is 0, 0. So it's going to go through the origin. Y-intercept is going to go through the origin right there. And finally, let's plug in negative 2 for x. So we have y equals 1 over 2 times negative 2. These will cancel, but we have a negative. Negative times a positive becomes a negative, so that becomes negative 1. So the order pair would be negative 2, negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1. Again, be very careful when we have an equation that is not in the y form. Not in the y form. We have to solve for y first. We have to do whatever we have to do in order for us to get the y by itself first. Once we do that, we are going to put that equation right here, the simplified version of this equation, into this box. Give very carefully some numbers, some values for x in order for us to cancel this fraction. So we are not going to end up with fractions, okay? So that's it. And now let's plot those points and get the line. When x equals 2, y equals 1, right here. When x equals 2, y equals 1. And again, when x equals 0, y is 0. It's going to go through the origin. And when x equals negative 2, y equals negative 1 right there. So this is our line right here. That's it. The slope is positive. The line goes to the right. Okay? And also now, as we look at this problem, we see this 0 here represents the y-intercept, right? This is the y-intercept. Y-intercept right here. This is 0, 0, 0. Y-intercept. This 0 here is right here, the y-intercept. And remember, the slope is the number in front of x. It's 1 over 2, right? 1 represents the rise and 2 the run. So the slope equals 1 over 2. This is the rise over the run. Rise over the run, okay? So it's a positive 1 over 2. So we go 1 up and then 2 to the right. Okay, 1 up, 2 to the right, 1 up, 2 to the right, and so forth. Rise over run, rise over run. That's our slope. It's just like steps, okay? Like stairs. Rise over run. 1 up, over 2 to the right. 1 up, over 2 to the right, and so forth. Please remember this, okay? The last number at the end is the y-intercept, and the number or the fraction in front of x is the slope. This is our slope. The m represents the slope, and the 0 represents the b, the y-intercept, and the slope. I hope you are very clear after today's lesson how to graph equations. Make sure you first get the y by itself and then give some values for x. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for our next video. All the best to you.